Cambodia, the land that spawned Pol Pot, the revolutionary and ruthless dictator who led the feared Khmer Rouge in the 70s. In their attempt to socially engineer a classless peasant society, they took particular aim at intellectuals, city residents, ethnic Vietnamese, civil servants, and religious leaders. Under his rule, the urban dwellers were forced into the countryside to work on collective farms. The combined effects of executions, strenuous working conditions, malnutrition, and lack of medical care saw the death of 25% of the Cambodian population. It's estimated that 2 to 3 million people died during this man's 4-year rule. On our way to Battambang, we stopped at Nom Sampao to visit the notorious Killing Caves. They're high up in the cliffs, and it's just as well they had transport. It would have been one hang of a walk. We climbed down these wooden stairs to the caves below. Looking up, you could see the hole through which the victims were tossed after being bludgeoned to death on the cliffs above. These are the remains of some who were butchered by the Khmer Rouge regime. Talking to the locals below the cave, over a refreshing drink of coconut water, we heard that the bats in the cave across the road came out en masse at 6 p.m. So we sat and waited, and eventually they flew out, thousands of them. Now we're driving through the back streets of Phnom Penh to the Chang Ek killing fields. This was once peaceful farmland, used for growing watermelons and longan trees, until the Khmer Rouge converted it into the most cruel and barbaric killing field on earth. It was an integral part of the notorious security prison called S21. Adults were usually clubbed to death or had their throats slit. Children sometimes bashed to death against this tree and their naked bodies thrown into this grave. The Chang Ek Memorial here is comprised of multiple layers of human skulls, 5,000 in total. Particularly disturbing is that many bear marks of the trauma they suffered before their execution. They're a harsh reminder of the genocide that took place only 40 years ago. Along a dusty road on the outskirts of Phnom Penh sits a former high school. The Khmer Rouge renamed it S21 and turned it into the most notorious of their torture, interrogation, and execution centers. They meticulously documented their interrogations and took photos of all their victims. Pol Pot was undoubtedly one of the world's most evil men. He died in 1998 without ever being brought to justice. In a lighter vein, we head for Battambang and wander around their marketplace. Complete with the obligatory flies. And then a drive through town, which surprisingly shows off some beautiful old colonial buildings, the river, and a statue that even Google can't tell me about. But down this muddy little street is the quaint bamboo train. It's one of the world's all-time unique rail journeys. Beautifully air-conditioned and a wraparound view. We proceeded to bump 7 kilometers through the bush, along warped, misaligned rails and shaky bridges left by the French. I wonder when last an inspector checked this track. At the end of the line, they have the obligatory souvenir stores, but agreeably rustic. And then they swing our carriage around for the return journey, with a stop to let another train through. What a brilliant solution for single track lines. Sadly, there's talk of upgrading the railway and ending the operation of the bamboo train in the near future. We drove on to Siem Reap. They sell bottles of petrol at road stores here to cater for all the scooters and other strange craft. Between about 800 and 1400 AD, this whole area was known as Angkor, the capital city of the Khmer Empire. Within this huge city lie many temples. I must admit that although I'm not normally a temple appreciator, I do love the textures and rustic stonework of these. Two, of course, stand out. Firstly, Ta Prohm, what I call the root temple. Its crumbling towers and walls are locked in the slow, muscular embrace of vast root systems. It's virtually being swallowed by the jungle. And secondly, the mighty Angkor Wat, which means City of Temples. And it's the largest religious monument in the world. Truly breathtaking to explore. And we say goodbye to Cambodia.